I am so shook right now.
It's Brittany, bitch.
Hey, hello, my name is Brittany. Welcome back to my channel. Today, we're gonna be reading The Ballad of Songbirds and the Snakes by Suzanne Collins, which is the fourth installment in the Hunger Games trilogy. It's basically the prequel for the Hunger Games trilogy. It follows President Snow as a young boy in the Capitol. And I'm really excited to get to this. I really wanted to read it last year when it came out, but I also really wanted to reread the trilogy, which I finally just finished rereading. So now I'm gonna pop into this bad boy, which is, I think, over 500 pages or almost 500 pages. So it's definitely a little bit heftier than the other three novels in the trilogy. So I'm hoping that it's good. Sometimes when there's too many pages, some could have been cut out. I also requested this on audiobook, so hopefully I will get that to help me read during my work hours, but also work has been insane just for the first day back today after a long weekend. It has been absolutely batshit, and again, I've been staying like almost 2 hours extra every day for overtime because work has been crazy, and I had a giant argument with my boss. Giant argument right before I had to sign off, so I'm not in the greatest of moods. But I wanted to fill you in on what I've already read of this book because I decided to start it really late last night because I didn't want to lose time. And I want to be able to return it to the library and have read the whole thing because I absolutely hate returning a book when I have to, and I haven't finished it. I'm exactly 100 pages into this. I'm starting chapter 7, and what has happened so far, mind you, holy shit, my mind is blown. I am so shook right now. Like, how the tributes are treated in this book is crazy. So we're following President Snow. Him and his family are extremely poor. So the Dark Days, which was when the rebels rebelled, was 10 years ago. And so this is the 10th annual Hunger Games. And he's a mentor. He was chosen by his school to be a mentor. It is like the first year they're doing this. They're trying to switch things up and they want to get more people to watch the Hunger Games. This is the perfect book for the people who criticized her writing, saying that the Hunger Games was unrealistic, because a lot of people said that this was unrealistic. There's no way people would throw kids into an arena and watch them die. And a lot of people already in 100 pages have brought up that same exact issue. A lot of Capitol citizens have said it's disgusting, no one wants to watch it, it's horrid, why do we have to do this? And the game maker, who's this like crazy old lady who likes to strip the skin off of rats, is trying to find ways to make it more interesting. And so I think obviously President Snow is going to help with that. He already suggested that people could gamble on who's going to win, who's going to lose, basically gambling on the lives of these tributes. And then they also gave up the idea to give them gifts, maybe even in the arena, which is something that we know in the modern Hunger Games that is actually a thing where you can buy gifts for the tributes and help them out. But how that comes about is absolutely insane. May I just say, the first 3 chapters of this book blew my fucking mind. I literally was almost sick reading it. The tributes come in on a cattle train that is very dirty, and they're like shoved off the cattle train, put into a cage on a truck, and then they're taken on this truck to the zoo where they are dumped into the former monkey enclosure, and people can watch them 24/7. And they're not even given food, showers, nothing. They're not given anything. At night, they put hay in there so they could sleep on hay. They're not separated. They're literally in a zoo enclosure where people can come and look at them. And it is just absolutely heartbreaking. And it is just crazy to see how far the Hunger Games came. Like, I'm not saying it's not barbaric in the modern day version, but like this older version of the Hunger Games is truly like sickening. Like, at least before they died, in the modern ones, they get beautiful food, they get great training, they get time to say goodbye to their families and like move on, and they're transported well. And I'm not saying they're treated with much more respect. They're really seen as like pawns in a game, but at least like they're not treated like complete animals. Some little girl was talking to one of President Snow's classmates when he was trying to feed them in there, and she was like, the sign says don't feed the animals, and he was like, we're not animals, you know, they're human beings. And she's like, they're not human beings, we're human beings, we're from like the Capitol, the districts are animals. It was just, it's shocking. Like, this book to me is actually in a lot of ways right now a lot worse than the rest of the trilogy. So I just wanted to say that. Like, I'm very triggered by this already. Like, the treatment of the tributes is just very different, which is cool to see how it evolved. But this was the perfect opportunity to show those people who criticized her writing, like, this is how it came to happen. Like, they really were trying to get people to watch it because people didn't want to watch it. They thought it was disgusting. They were disgusted. They were appalled. They don't understand why killing kids would do this. And that is exactly what they're saying, but they're doing it for entertainment value because the people who created the games are crazy. Like, they're literally insane, and they're high up in power, and they're pushing their authority on other people, and they're having these kids get good grades for coming up with ideas on how to keep the Hunger Games alive. That's how shit happens, y'all. Does this sound like white supremacy to anyone else? I don't know. Anyway, I'll have to update you later, but I'm pretty shook so far on this. I'm shook. I'm 100 pages in, and this is 517 pages, so I hope I can finish this in the next day or two. Like, that is my goal. But so far it is really hard to read, but in a good way. So this is our summer meal, which I don't know what the marinade is on this. I can't remember, but yes, this whole side is corn fresh off the cob. Still reading that. I'll give you an update in a minute. And we're watching The Wizard of Oz on here. That's what we got for today. I thought I'd update you about every 100 pages or so, and I just got to page 208 earlier today, and I just have to say that this book just keeps getting more brutal and disgusting. It is just so intense. I know that I already have a lot of spoilers in here, but I don't want to spoil absolutely everything, but there are a lot of disgusting things that happen to people alive or dead in this novel. Basically, the game maker, she's like Dr. something. She's nuts. Like, she's batshit. Like, she basically tricked one of, I'm just gonna call him President Snow. Like, he's President Snow, period. She tricked one of his classmates, and then she ended up sick in the hospital, and it's just crazy. Like, this lady is absolutely one of the most evil people I've ever read in my life. Like, absolutely insane, evil psychopath. So Snow is trying not to piss her off, but he's trying to play her game. He wants to get good grades, even though he thinks she's barbaric and absolutely crazy, and he thinks that she is a complete psychopathic freak who likes experimenting on people and animals, hence. So I can appreciate that at least Snow has his head on straight about her, but the things that I'm enduring in this novel right now are just absolutely crazy and weird. And I like how twisted it is. The games have just started, and like, they're a lot more boring in a lot of ways, but I can't even tell you, but like, it's just so much more brutal in other ways. I have no words. I have no words. I have no words. I feel crazy reading this, but I absolutely love it so far. I find it a really interesting perspective, and I love that I'm getting to know like how our modern day Hunger Games like kind of came about. I think it also adds more of a human quality to the Capitol, know that other people felt this way and that not all of them think it's okay or acceptable. I mean, even in the modern day Hunger Games, they have allies and they join the rebel cause. So I mean, there's definitely a lot of people that think it's messed up to begin with, but I think it's just really interesting because Snow just like wants power so badly that even though he realizes it's brutal and stuff, he's trying so hard to be the best at this and like mentor his tribute. And she wants him to help her win. Like, she wants to win this thing. I don't know if she does die because I swear I watched Cindy's video and I think she does die. I don't know. I'm like so interested. I really want to know what happens to her and what happens to him, but I know that a lot of people say like the second half of the novel like let them down, and that's what like lowered their star ratings. The first half, I don't know what I would rate it, but it's a good, at least strong 4 to 5. Like, I have no qualms with it. I'm really enjoying it so far, and I'm really liking reading it, even though it's messed up and I had to take a break. I had to take a break after a couple things. I've had to just be like, okay, because it's just very intense, but I'm really curious to see what's gonna happen, and I want to keep reading. Okay, so it's the next day, and I've gotten past part 3, and I'm on page 336 at the moment. And I'm just gonna warn you, past this point, there will be severe spoilers. I'm gonna put something up here. If you do not want this book to be spoiled, you should click off right now. We're gonna be talking about who won the games, what happened after the games. These are all very large plot points, so if you don't wanna know, you were warned. So at part 3, what happens is he was reprimanded for helping Lucy cheat. Lucy won the games, he cheated. I like the way he cheated. It was smart. I thought it was really inventive, really cool. I really wanted her to win with him helping her, just because it was like such an inventive way to like help her win and help her like survive past what was going on. He cheated multiple times. Brilliant though, but multiple times. So as punishment, he's made to be a peacekeeper. How did we not know this? I am shook. President Snow as a peacekeeper in District 12. Boom. I'm honestly so shook right now. The games got a little bit repetitive at a few points just because I didn't know who we were talking about, because a lot of them like seemed a little similar, but it's also because we weren't in the games directly. We were watching from Snow's perspective. But it was really inventive, and I really liked some of the like things that they employed in the games, even though they obviously are much more rudimentary than what we had in the modern Hunger Games. Super interesting. Dr. Gall is batshit. And I like her as a character just because she's fun, but like there are real people out there like her. Real people. So what's really happened since I last talked to you was just we were going through the games and a lot of different things happened. A lot happened. A lot of things have happened since I spoke to you last night. I definitely read a lot after I spoke to you, and I read a lot today, and I'm trying to finish this today if I could, but I don't know if I'll be able to get like to 170 pages of this today. I'm not sure, but I'm interested in where this is going now. I wonder if this is the part where people didn't like with him being the peacekeeper, because obviously a lot of like the rising action is like gone. So I don't really know what's gonna happen past this point. I don't know. I'm hoping it's good. I'm hoping I like it. So far, I don't know if it's my favorite book out of the series, but I mean, it's a strong contender. It has a little more merit than Mockingjay. A lot of people I saw when they rated all four of them rated this above Mockingjay. I don't know if I could disagree with them. It has a lot more action than Mockingjay did. Mockingjay was very repetitive and boring for like a lot of the book, and this had a lot of things go on that are also describing what's going on in the Capitol, and it's giving us a lot of backstory to the Capitol, and that's exactly what I was hoping for. And also, I don't know if I mentioned this, but Tigris from Mockingjay, she's President Snow's cousin and was raised with him. Dude, what? So anyway, I'm gonna try reading as much as I can of this tonight. I don't know if I'm gonna get there. I have been listening to the audiobook as well whenever I wanna give my eyes a break. I do like the audiobook for this too. So if you do like audiobooks, I would recommend the audiobook. I was kind of upset that it wasn't narrated by the original lady who did all three other books, but obviously it was from Katniss's perspective. And now for President Snow's perspective, they're having a guy do it. And I really like his voice, and I like the way he says things. It's kind of comical because I feel like we're kind of in President Snow's head in a lot of ways. So I currently have no big complaints about this story. None. I wouldn't really change much. So this could be better than Mockingjay. I hate to say that, but I feel like it's true, low key. I finally finished The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, and I really don't know how I feel about it. I really don't know. Part 3 was quite, I don't know, it was quite boring at times, and there was way too much like singing involved. Like the singing was like ridiculous. So I don't know, like it was really cool to find out where the Hanging Tree song came from. That was a whole part of the story that was really interesting, and I really enjoyed that, but there was just way too much singing for me in general. It was just way too much, and it definitely detracted a bit from the story. Like the story could have continued on without you interjecting lyrics. Like it was like every single chapter had so many of them, and I'm just not really into that. I also like just don't know how I feel about like what happened at the end. I like the very end. It's very Snow. It makes a lot of sense what he did. It's really interesting to find out how the Hunger Games actually came to be. So I don't think it's a spoiler to find out how the Hunger Games came to be, so I'm not going to put up a spoiler thing. I think a lot of people would like that explanation, and I don't think you need to read the book to find that explanation out. But what happened was Basically, there's like a Professor Highbottom, and he was best friends with President Snow's dad, and President Snow's dad is a bitch. That's all I'm gonna say. Let me read to you what transpired. On page 514 in the epilogue, President Snow is talking to Professor Highbottom, and they're just talking about the Hunger Games. Or it's Dean Highbottom. My bad. Oh, I think half the credit for that goes to your father, said the dean. Snow frowned. How do you mean? I thought the Hunger Games were your idea. Something you came up with at the university? For Dr. Gall's class, which I was failing since my loathing of her made participation impossible. We paired off for the final project, so I was with my best friend, Crassus, of course, President Snow's dad. The assignment was to create a punishment for one's enemy so extreme that they would never be allowed to forget how they had wronged you. It was like a puzzle, which I excel at, and like all good creations, absurdly simple at its core. The Hunger Games. The evilest impulse cleverly packaged into a sporting event. An entertainment. I was drunk and your father got me drunker still, playing on my vanity as I fleshed the thing out, assuring me that it was just a private joke. The next morning, I awoke horrified by what I'd made, meaning to rip it to shreds, but it was too late. Without my permission, your father had given it to Dr. Gall. He wanted the grade, you see. I never forgave him. So this was the perfect showing of how the Hunger Games kind of came to be, and it's very fitting that President Snow's dad is actually the one who invented the Hunger Games. Really interesting. Obviously, I'm going to credit Dr. Gall for that because that bitch was crazy, but I don't really know. I find the ending of it like really good in a lot of ways. It tied up a lot of things about the Hunger Games that we wanted to know. I do think that this prequel was needed. I feel like it answered a lot of questions that people had, but I can also agree that people feel like it's like fan fiction, where she definitely served the fans in this, and that she answered a lot of questions that we had. She also answered back to a lot of her critics. I don't know, I really enjoyed most of this reading experience. I don't really like President Snow as a character. I think most of us don't. And I think the whole time though, we're like kind of in his head and we're supposed to be on his side. But at the same time, Snow is without a doubt just like a really ruthless person who wants to get back on top. Their family motto is Snow lands on top. Because they come from like a deep capital background and they're really rich, and he's very prideful, and I think he's not the easiest character to like, but it's kind of nice to be in his head and experience things the way he experienced. Like, he's not completely without empathy, but you know, he's definitely been hardened by a few things, but I don't understand why he hates District 12 so much still. Like, I just kind of am not, I guess he was spurned, but I don't know. I just don't feel like that was the best explanation for why he hates District 12 in general, but I mean, I guess I can see it. You're still welcome for that college level analysis. But I really enjoyed reading this. I don't regret reading it at all. I wish I'd read it a lot faster, but I really wanted to take the time to understand it. Like, I really want to take the time to understand as much as I possibly could and actually take the time to go through it at a good pace. And like, I didn't want to miss anything. I wanted to understand the story. I wanted to be able to come back to you guys and give you kind of a review in a lot of ways, even though this is obviously an experience and a reading vlog, but especially since it was such a famous trilogy, I really was very curious to see how the prequel would add up, but I don't know I'm gonna rate it yet. I feel like 4 stars is good. I'm left reading the book feeling good. Like, I literally just finished it. In my opinion, could change, but I think it ended in a lot of ways that Mockingjay did, where up until the end, it was kind of like meandering for a whole part. Part 3 kind of meandered a little bit and you're just very confused as to what's happening. And then the end, like, everything comes together and makes sense. And I like that though. Like, even though parts of it were a little bit slower at the end and there was too much singing, the rest of the book to me was really fast paced and compelling, and I was kind of on my toes to see what was kind of gonna happen. And then the ending, I feel satisfied. I feel satisfied with that answer. I really do. It ties in a lot of things. It shows us Snow's true character, which I think he just, it's not that he's not human, right? He does feel things, but his self-service is always gonna end up on top. Like, all he cares about is his pride and his image, and he wants to be in power. He plans to be president. He wants to be on top. He wants to be the ultimate authority. He likes power, and I think he will do whatever it takes to get there. And I think that's ultimately what happened. It is a little frustrating to see how he went from feeling like such a good character to evil, but I think there's a part in there that I don't want to tell you that I think definitely starts that, but I think there was always an inkling of that in him. Like, he was never a really truly good character from the beginning. He was always very morally gray. And I feel like he still is a little gray. I don't think he's completely black or on the dark side. I don't think that he was ever there. I think he's just extremely like manipulative to get what he wants, and he will not stop until he gets it. I think he's just extremely motivated, and he never wants to be poor again. And he always wants to be on top. He always wants to be the most upstanding capital citizen, and he thinks so highly of himself. I just think he's a selfish, self-serving, prideful, deceitful character. But it makes him who he is, so I'm not like mad at it, but he definitely isn't always a likable character with some of his actions. But I also like seeing his remorse at some of his actions, because even though it got him to where he wanted to go, he's still not like okay with all of his choices. He has to live with those choices that he made that were fucked up, to be honest, some of them. So I don't know. I mean, the jury's out. Is this better than Mockingjay? Maybe, maybe. All right, that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching this. I hope that you enjoyed it as much as I did. I really loved getting to read this after I reread the entire trilogy, and I don't know, would I buy this book myself? I mean, if it matches with my other books, I might do it. I might do it. Thanks so much for being here today. Like, subscribe, join the tribe. I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye.